On vacation, a newborn baby's skin breaks out in a rash, and physicians are unsure how to cure him. He now faces having his limbs amputated because doctors have no idea what to do. Parents Shanice and Matthew Curry were concerned about their first child when they sensed something was wrong. Their 4-month-old boy was discharged from the hospital after being diagnosed with a probable UTI in the process of diagnosing the ailment. The doctor noticed he was suffering from an unusual rashes. His limbs may have to be amputated as a result of the disease, cutting off circulation to them. Before we start, can we get this video to 1,000 likes? Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Several blood clots produced a rare condition in a newborn who was sent home from the hospital with a urinary tract infection could result in the loss of his arms if the disease cut off his circulation. After returning from a family vacation in Queensland more than 4 weeks ago, Shanice, Roy, and Matthew Curry became aware that something was wrong with their 4-month-old kid, Logan, after contracting a rare ailment that mystified their medical team. They're now confronted with the prospect that their only kid will lose both of his hands as well as his left leg if the disease continues. According to Mr. Curry, who spoke with Daily Mail Australia, he would not wish this on his worst enemy because we have no idea what's going on, and the physicians have no idea how his two diseases are interfering with one another. I would never want somebody to be a medical mystery, says the author, because Logan remains in the cardiac unit after being transferred from intensive care. The young family from Singleton, New South Wales, has moved into the Ronald McDonald House near Westmead Hospital to be closer to him. Logan has been in the intensive care unit since being transferred. He has a syndrome that doctors believe is a combination of Kawasaki illness and polyarterial arthritis, but they aren't sure what to do about it yet. They believe that the disorders may have worked together in some way to cause blood clots through Logan's heart, lungs, and body, ultimately reducing blood flow to his extremities. Logan's health is currently unknown. Mr. Curry stated that they're not aware that Logan will lose his hands and maybe both arms below the elbows as a result of the accident. His disease has also had an effect on his left leg, which has been affected from the knee down. They're unsure of the extent to which his arms will be retained by the doctors. In order to view what's still living, they must wait for the dead skin to peel away first, he explained. The pair first became aware of the rash while on a family vacation on the Gold Coast. After that, he became angry and began vomiting. He was taken to the Gold Coast University Hospital Emergency Department, where he was diagnosed with a urinary tract infection and given an antibiotic prescription to go home. He was taken to the hospital as his condition deteriorated and his hand began to turn purple, which was when doctors discovered his unusual ailment. According to Mr. Curry, this was the first time he's ever seen anything like it. He was eventually flown from Queensland to Westmead Children's Hospital in Sydney to be closer to his family, which was a relief. Logan's parents created a GoFundMe campaign to help with the price of prosthetic limbs and Logan's future medical treatment. This is their first child, even though they've both been able to take time off work. Chenya maternity leave and Mr. Curry on an unpaid leave of absence. They're beginning to deplete their bank accounts. When Shanice's maternity leave comes to an end, Mr. Curry intends to return to work as a bricklayer in order to continue to provide for a small family. He stated that the entire situation has been difficult, but that they're trying to take things day by day. There are days that are better than others, Mr. Curry admitted emphatically. It's possible for us to enjoy ourselves as much as he does when he's having a wonderful day. Although the slightest thing such as coughing or sneezing can cause us to become alarmed and believe that there's something more major going on. What is Kawasaki disease and how does it affect you? Kawasaki disease, also known as Kawasaki syndrome, is an acute febrile illness with no known cause that usually affects children under the age of 5. Kawasaki disease is caused by a virus that is transmitted through the air. Tomosaku Kawasaki published the initial description of the disease in Japan in 1967, and the first cases outside of Japan were reported in Hawaii in 1976, marking the beginning of the modern era of infectious disease. Fever, rash, swelling of the hands and feet, irritation and redness of the whites of the eyes, swollen lymph glands in the neck, and irritation and inflammation of the mouth, lips, and throat are some of the clinical indications of strep infection. It's uncertain what causes Kawasaki disease, which is sometimes known as Kawasaki syndrome, but it's an acute febrile sickness that primarily affects children younger than 5 years of age and has no known cause. Tanasaku Kawasaki published the initial description of the disease in Japan in 1967, and the first cases outside of Japan were reported in Hawaii in 1976, marking the beginning of the modern era of infectious disease in the United States. Kawasaki disease is most commonly cause of acquired heart disease. Coronary artery dilations and aneurysms are serious problems that can occur. The usual treatment, which includes intravenous immunoglobulin and aspirin, has been shown to significantly slow the progression of these coronary artery anomalies. KD is found all over the world with the highest prevalence in Japan, and it primarily affects boys and young children under the age of 5. Kawasaki disease may be seasonal, peaking in the winter and spring, and epidemics affecting a whole community have been observed on occasion. Population-based and hospitalization studies in the continental U.S. have estimated an incidence of Kawasaki disease rating from approximately 9 to 20 per 1,000 children under the age of 5 in the year 2016. Around 5,440 hospitalizations for Kawasaki disease were reported among children under the age of 18 in the United States. 3,935 of these children were under the age of 5, resulting in a hospitalization rate of 19.8 per 1,000 children in that age group in the U.S. in 2016. Definition of the case according to the CDC. A case of Kawasaki disease is defined as illness in a patient who is at a fever for 5 days or longer and has at least 4 of the following 5 clinical signs.